What's poppin'? Turn your speakers up.
Turn these speakers up.
You're locked into the illest girls next door.
Look up, bump it in your stereo.
On BoominLive.com.
It's me.
Okay, baby, we is back with another one. And I'm y'all most famous, most lovable host, Jay Vance.
And I'm Rissy Riss.
And it's Yanni here.
And today we have a very, 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 very special guest with us today. Birah, welcome to Illest Girls Next Door.
Hey, Birah.
Thank you guys for having me. What's up, y'all?
What's up? I'm trying to get down to the busy. You're a very busy woman. Talk to us.
I try. So let's just get into a little bit more about me.
Okay.
So my name is Birah Roberts. I like to go by my full name. That's what I like people to call me. But I do a lot. So outside of me being a college student, I am also a grief recovery specialist. So I specialize in giving therapy to anybody who has experienced loss of any kind. So regardless of what it is, there's over 40 different types of loss. So you can be going through loss if you just decided that you were going to drop out of school, if you maybe have lost a job. So it's not just limited to death or like divorce or like relationships, so it can go into any life instance where you feel like you have experienced a significant emotional loss and trauma, and whatever you're doing. So I do that. And outside of that, I am a mixologist, and I'm a celebrity mixologist, actually. So I work for Hennessy. Turn up. And outside of Hennessy, I also work at a place called Nico Kitchen and Bar, which is connected to NJ Pack. Yes, so it's right downtown Newark, in the heart of downtown Newark. So you can always come and check me out right there. I'm there damn near every day, getting his money. So, definitely come through and check me out. I can make you anything you like, whatever your palate is, sweet, sour, tangy, whatever you like, I'm gonna mix it up for you and we're gonna get drunk. So that's what I do. And I'm just active. I'm a community activist, community organizer. So I like to be active in my community. I do a lot with the environment. That's something I'm really, really passionate about. I just like to put my people on, and I care about where I'm from. So, North, born and raised.
Brick City.
Okay. So, we out here and, we gonna do everything we have to do to make sure we let people know where we're from. That's what I do. That's just the basis of what I'm, doing right now and where I see myself going. It's crazy. So I'm gonna let y'all, question me a little bit, pick my brain a little bit. And we just gonna get into it. I'm just gonna share more as we go on with this interview.
Perfect.
Okay.
So thank you guys for having me here, though. I gotta give y'all a shout out.
Of
I really appreciate you beautiful ladies for, having me on y'all show, Black Girl Magic.
Of course.
A very black boss.
Okay, we gotta keep our sisters up, So I really do appreciate you guys for giving me this opportunity. I definitely do.
Of course. So how did you end up getting into mixology? Like, what made you want to do that?
Oh, that is a good question. So it actually stemmed from home. So my mom was a bartender all her life. So this was in my family. My grandfather owned a lot of bars throughout the city of Newark. So, my family was kind of like, known for the bar scene, the club scene, things like that. And my mom actually died in 2016. So because of my mom dying,
on your pendant?
Yes. So because of my mom dying, I knew that I needed to do something to get money because that was my main source of income. So because that was my main source of income, I'm like, what can I do? And then I remembered in my head how my mom used to always be like, oh, Birah, you can't bartend. You got an attitude. You ain't going to be able to have no clients. You ain't going to be able to, practice customer service and all that stuff. So that was one major reason why I jumped into it, because I was like, my mom would be proud of me if I did this and I executed in this, and I actually did it the right way and, changed little habits about myself as well, because my attitude wasn't always perfect. I can be honest. Us black girls, we got our little attitudes sometimes. But But, you know, I definitely channeled that, and I definitely learned how to conquer when I jumped into that. I took a bartending course in New York City, ABC Bartending School. Shout them out. They are the #1 bartending school in the country. So if you are looking to jump into mixology, definitely check them out. They'll get you started. At that time, like I said, my mom died. I had just came back to Jersey. I wasn't really doing anything. I was trying to figure out my lifestyle, you know, what I'm about to get into. So I jumped into that course. I took the course. It was a 2-week course. You can either take a 1-week course or 2 weeks. I took 2 weeks. Like I said, I wasn't doing shit.
Right.
So I was like, you know, I got the time on my hands. So I took the course. I learned, you know, different types of drinks and stuff like that outside of just knowing drinks off, you know, drinking and stuff like that. I already knew. But yeah, I wound up taking that course. And then next thing you know, because of the program that I took with them, they also offer you a lifetime catalog of like support of different jobs like that they post all the time. So you can always go like on their website. They'll put you in like this little Facebook chat that's just specific to ABC Bartending School, and they put you in that chat, and you know you keep seeing them posting different jobs that they have coming up. And I had wind up applying for United Club. They had an opening up there for United Club, and I was like, this will be major for me because not only am I jumping into this, but most bartenders, if you do not know, federally, you're only legally be able to pay $2.13. So they only have to pay you $2.13 because you are a tipped employee.
Right.
So because I jumped into the United Club, I was getting $15 an hour. So off the jump, I was already jumping into an industry where I'm already making money, and I didn't even know, you know, too much really about it, and really, you know, what I was doing. But I was like, whatever, like, you know, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna finesse it. I got a mouth. I know how to work it. So I'm gonna go up in here and I'm gonna roll with the big dogs. And that was something that I did. And I just kept getting better and better and better. Like I just kept, you know, just learning different things and just putting myself out there, just, you know, figuring out different ways, different drinks, what I like, what I don't like, you know, just mad stuff. And then that just pushed me further and further and further. And then all I know, my life just took off. So that's how I wanted to get into mixology.
That's a story. Like, I'm a waitress, so I understand the $2.13.
Hospitality.
Oh my gosh. So do you think that kind of helped you in other areas, the hospitality?
Oh yes, because I feel like I always tell people the best part about my job is being able to talk to people, like the customer service aspect. So I feel like because I'm so good with my mouth, I always told people, regardless of what I do in life, I need to be able to talk. So because I had a job where I was able to talk, I'm like a therapist. You know, people come, even if they're sitting with me for like 30 minutes, they gonna spill a whole life story, and they gonna tell me everything, and they never probably gonna see me again, but they were comfortable enough to come have a drink with me and sit down and talk to me, and that means a lot for me. So I think just because of that, it helped my relationships just with connecting with people and how to understand different people, different backgrounds, cultures, you know, people coming in and out. Even working at the airport, it was like you never really see regulars, you never really see the same people. So just to have, you know, different lifestyles and different people walking through, you know, your restaurant and you just talking to them, you know, just for a little bit, that definitely helped different areas of my life, because now I'm able to practice communication and just better, even with relationships, you know what I mean? Like, that's a major thing, knowing how to communicate. So just practicing that every day, it forces you to, you know, build up your communication skills, definitely. So I feel like that definitely played a major part, you know, and just how I operate on a daily, definitely.
And as far as being a grief counselor and your mother passing away, did that actually help you deal with the passing of your mother?
So, oh my God, let's talk about that, right? So when I decided to jump into the grief recovery, right, I was still grieving. So when I left school, I knew that I needed to deal with my grief, but I still didn't. So it was trickling into how I handled everything on a daily. You know what I mean? My interactions with my family, friends, everybody, like just being closed off, not really knowing, you know, what I'm feeling, not knowing how to express it, because I'm feeling like nobody understands me, you know?
You feel like the whole world.
Yeah, the whole world. Yes, exactly. So when I got into my program, I actually got into it because I was looking for some support. I was looking for something, because I knew, like, not to downplay therapists and not to downplay psychiatrists and things like that, but a lot of times when you're dealing with typical, you know, psychiatrists and stuff, a lot of them, they just want to automatically say you're depressed and not understand that you're just going through your stages of grief. So instead of you actually being able to handle your grief, because every person is unique, right? Every person is an individual. So just like your mom died, Jada, I know that about you. Our relationship with our moms could have been completely different. You know what I mean? You could have hated your mom and I could have loved mine. So because every relationship is unique, it was just like, that program really, like, I don't know, changed my life, like really helped me in so many ways. Because like I said, I was dealing with a lot of grief, and I needed some support. And in my city, it wasn't available. It was nobody doing it. So I was like, yo, this is an opportunity for me to jump on. And then I literally became the first person in the city of Newark to even come up with this type of program and bring, and just like, bring it to my community, like, and definitely bring it to my community. It was something that was needed, and we don't talk about mental health.
That was my next question.
Go ahead, girl, jump into it.
How do you feel about the whole stigma about mental health in the African American community, especially with men? Like, it's bad. Especially with inner city men, because inner city men, just people in the inner city in general, they deal with a different trauma than other people.
They talk to deal with it.
Exactly. We could walk out our door anytime and see somebody get shot.
Right.
That's a different type of trauma. That's something different to deal with. So, like, how do you feel about that? And how do you think we as a community can get rid of that stigma and help our black men and our black people really open up and just be more aware about mental illness as a whole?
So, for starters, I feel like one of the biggest things that we have to do is first educate ourselves.
Yes.
And that's something that we don't do enough. We don't know enough, so we can't teach something. If you don't know a thing, you can't really teach somebody something. You know what I mean? So I feel like it definitely starts with us educating our community on the fact that it's okay to go see a therapist, or it's okay to talk to a counselor. It's okay. Like, you're not going to look bad. Like, nobody's going to look at you like you're a punk. Like, how they look at men, like, and think like, oh, something's wrong with you, or you're crazy. And that's something, too, that we have to kind of, go away from, is that nobody's crazy because they want to go get their mental health. They need that. It's important. It's a necessity.
Right.
Just like you would take care of your health in general, you need to take care of your mental health. It's important.
It's all connected.
And when it comes to men, like, I love my black men, and I just want them to definitely go and get the help that they need. Don't be afraid. Speak up, talk to somebody. And even if it's you just reaching out to one of your friends and just letting them know what's on your mind, it's just simple things like that, like little steps, because like I said, you don't know what the next person may know. You don't know. And if you don't know about it, you can't really judge it, and you can't automatically put a stigma on it because you don't know much about it. So just start with educating yourself, researching, learning about how people have moved past, the trauma and their tribulations and things like that. I think it starts with education. Like, I'm always stress that if we don't educate our community, nobody else will. And because we think we also can't see therapists and things like that, we need to let people know it is therapists. Like, it's this website, right, for black girls. It's called Therapy for Black Girls. If you go on this website, you can literally find any therapist in your city or wherever you are, your state, and literally put your insurance in, and they'll let you know which one takes you.
I'm so glad you said that. What's it called again?
Therapy for Black Girls. Yes, and a black woman created it. A black therapist created it. And, she put it up there because, like I said, it's not talked about enough. We don't know that we have these resources. We don't know that we can, get the help that we need when it comes to our mental health. So I think even when it starts, like I said, with the stigmas, we got to educate ourselves more. And black men, like I said, we know that, not to say, I don't want to put it all on black men to make it seem like, they don't go get the help they need, but it's also black women too. We don't get the help we need either. So it goes both ways. Like, we need to both educate each other and support each other when it comes to getting the help we need for our mental health. Like, it's important. Like, we need it. Yeah. It's definitely important.
I just want to know, one, what school did you attend? And two, what was your major? Were you always on this path?
Nice. So when it came to my major, I went to Spelman. So I did 2.5 years there. I'm transferring, however, because my community needs me more here, and I'm making an impact more where I live. So I felt like it was best for me to stay here. Even I make more money here, I do more here, and I'm in my prime right now. So I definitely need to capitalize on that. But like I said, I went to Spelman. I studied psychology. I minored in environmental science, and I have a concentration in environmental racism. So I'm looking to be an environmental psychologist, and basically what that does, what an environmental psychologist does is they study how human behavior impacts the environment and how the environment impacts human behavior. This was not always my path. I didn't always want to be that. At first, I wanted to be a psychiatrist because my dad was a doctor for many years, and I knew I wanted to go into the medical field, but I knew I couldn't stand blood. So I was like, how am I going to make him proud, you know what I mean, and still be a doctor? So I was going to be a psychiatrist at first. So I always was in the psychology field, always. And I was like, okay, I still can get my MD because I have to go to medical school to be a psychiatrist. So I was like, that's fine. And I decided I was going to go ahead and do that. And then one day I was in my dorm room, and I was very, really stressed out because I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and she was like, Birah, you know, like, you want to be a psychiatrist, but that's not your passion. And I was like, what you mean that's not my passion? And she was like, that goes against everything you stand for. Now, growing up in the city of Newark, I noticed that a lot of the psychiatrists and a lot of teachers and people that worked there was not from our community. Absolutely. So a lot of people were traveling from like Pennsylvania, New York City, like all this stuff. Like, you know, they grew up in different environments and they didn't know how to understand us as kids. So I watched my little brother have to go in and out of different school systems because they would say he was crazy and they wanted to give him medicine. So I knew, like, it was a problem. Like, this kid is not crazy. He's just a product of his environment. And if you know anything about psychology, you know one of Maslow's first laws is your basic need is to eat. Right? So a child is going to do whatever they have to do to eat, regardless of what that is. So if they see other people eating and getting it however they live, they're just going to be a product of their environment and they're going to do it. So it doesn't make them crazy. You know, it doesn't make them a bad person. They just need somebody to listen to them and they need somebody to hear them. So when I decided I was going to be a psychiatrist, I wanted to be that. I was like, I'm going to be the person that they can listen to. But my friend shut that down because she was like, you know, it's a stigma behind that. Psychiatrists make their money off of how much medicine they prescribe. Give out. Yep. So if you're not giving these kids medicine, you're going to be a broke psychiatrist. So you're just wasting your time. So I spent literally 3 semesters in college stressed out, not knowing what the hell I wanted to do. So I'm just stressing, crying every day, calling my mother. I'm taking all these classes I don't need, like all these bio classes and things like that. Just, you know, wasting my parents' money, not really knowing, you know, what I wanted to do. And then I did this research day at Spelman, and it was such a hit. And because everybody knew how much I love the environment, and I always talk about it, and I always talk about how it plays a part in our psyche, you know, and how we operate on a daily. One of my professors, you know, he came personally to my research, and he was like, Birah, you know, why don't you study environmental psychology? And I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, what is that?
You know, I'm like, what is that? Like, you feel me? And once he wound up telling me, like, you know, he gave me it, and he gave me like this book, and he was like, you know, go do your research and come back, you know, to class the next day and let me know, you know, what you found out about it. And girl, bye, I was in love. I was like, yo, this is me. This is me. I literally found a title for everything I've been working hard for my entire life. So how active I've been in the community, how, you know, passionate I've been about just putting my people on and letting people know we're not crazy. You know, we just products of our environment, and some of us make it out and some of us don't. But, you know, that doesn't make anybody better than us, and that doesn't make anybody, you know, more adequate than us. We just need the proper resources. So for me, I was like, damn, you know, I found what I wanted to do. I found my passion in life, and that wound up leading me, you know, on the psychology route. Still kept psychology. I just took up a minor now, so an environmental science minor. Then my concentration was environmental racism, because I was trying to also bring awareness to the fact that we had to take a different look from Black Lives Matter, right? Now, let's not downplay police brutality. We know it happens every day, and we know this is something that has always been prone in our communities, you know, and where we are from. But we just have social media now. So we're able to, you know, record it and put it on live and things like that, but they've always been killing us. This is nothing new. So I was telling people, you know, not that that's not important, but pay attention to our environments and what's happening there, and how environmental racism is being practiced every day by the water that we're drinking. You know, how contaminated our grass is when you have kids living next doors to gas stations and they think that's normal, and that's not normal. Like, it's things like that we don't pay attention to. Our air is polluted. You know, 3 out of 5 of the most hazardous landfills are in underdeveloped communities, and they don't talk about that. You know, just right here in the city of Newark, right by us is Kearney. They have the landfill. They had the you know, shut it down just a few weeks ago because it was so smelly. And, you know, coming into the neighborhood and things like that is a problem. And that was something that I knew, like, I wanted to tackle and I wanted to talk about, because it's not, you know, it's not talked about, and we don't talk about how they're killing us with our environment. You know,
brings me
that's it, you know, food places
which brings
everywhere.
me to my next question. Do you think gentrification is an example of, like, environmental racism? Because I work in the zoning office for the city of Newark. So I see it all the time. Like, I see the permits, I see the big developments, I see it. So I'm like, no. So I wholeheartedly
believe that is definitely a part of the problem. Now, when I left for Spelman, like 4 or 5 years ago, right, I noticed that when I came back, it was completely different. Like, I mean, the city of Newark was changed. I was going up Springfield Avenue. I'm seeing a Sonic. I'm seeing a ShopRite. Like, not to say, like, none of this stuff is not a problem. But the fact that I'm seeing all of this happening right here in my city, you know what I mean? And the fact that they've been knocking down projects for years and not bringing no more community funding, you know, from the government back into us. But they're letting these private organizations come in and take over.
And Juice is buying the blocks.
Right. And we talk about that too.
been the case.
That's always been the case. You know what I mean? But like I said, we have to educate ourselves too, because it starts with us. You know what I mean? We spend money. When a black person get paid, right? The first thing they do is they hit the mall up. They spend their money on everybody else's culture besides their own.
Yep.
The nail salon get you. The Chinese people get you. You know what I mean? The chicken shack get you with the Arabs. Everybody get your money besides your own community. Years ago when my mom was younger, you used to be able to walk down Horsley Street and there was so many black-owned businesses. This is not even that anymore. Like, everything is changing. And I do feel like gentrification is a big issue. You know what I mean? A big issue.
And another thing is, too, that you're starting to notice, the luxury apartments. I literally, I live in Bloomfield. I watched them in over 5 years. Luxury apartment there, luxury apartment there, luxury apartment there.
The rent went up quick.
Like, literally, and then it's like all these people coming in, and it's just changes. So you're kicking out the people that don't have, you feel me, the money to pay for that. It's like $2,000 a month.
And not even that, too. Like, for downtown, right? And you know how they're building all these apartment complexes and things. They're letting a lot of these private, companies come in and buy up these buildings and turn them into apartment complexes. The biggest problem right there is not to say that these people are not welcome, but when you bring in these type of organizations and you bring in these type of corporations, they only increase the property taxes. So just because it's not affecting you downtown, we have more than downtown in the city of Newark. You know, we have the West Ward, we have the North Ward, we have the East Ward. So everything is going up as a city, you know, not as just downtown. So everybody is being affected wholeheartedly. But I have to shout out our mayor, though, because even though we do have this fucked up shit that's going on with gentrification, you know, I do have to shout him out because he does have this initiative that's called 20 for 20. So any corporation that's coming in, 20% of their jobs have to be for Norkers and 20% of their residencies have to be for Norkers.
That was the whole thing with Amazon.
So that is something that he definitely, you know, pushed forward to and he definitely put into place. So, you know, not to say like, you know, it's the greatest thing, but at least he still, you know, he put that initiative in to definitely, you know, help us when it comes to that. But girl, I heard you say lead in that water. I heard you say lead in that water.
It's kind of funny though, like with the whole lead in the water thing and everything. Also, before we even get into that, parents, if there's any parents watching this, please educate your children.
Please.
Like, y'all know, but do y'all kids know not to drink the water?
Right.
Do your kids know, you feel me, get a bottle of water and brush your teeth with it? Right. Make sure your kids know. Because kids, you know, turn on the water, drink the water, they might be thirsty or something like that, and they don't know. I had lead poison as a kid.
Oh,
you know? I had lead poison as a kid. It's kind of funny. My dad tried to get some money years later. Like, I'm grown now. You should have tried to do that when I had it. You should have. I had a fever and everything. Like, it was really bad.
Right.
So
remember those letters we used to get from the school not too long ago when they would say, "Oh, you can't drink the water for this amount of time. You can't do this for this amount of time." And they were talking about how like it's not only affecting just the Newark lines, it's affecting like you know nearby places, East Orange, Bloomfield, like and I'm just like for this long like
y'all didn't say nothing. Because it had been there.
So you know what's funny?
Those, we just weren't paying attention.
So you know what's funny, right? So at my school, I was a part of the environmental protection, organization on campus, right? And I was their treasurer. So one thing that we had to do was we organized a lot of panels, right? So we invited the EPA to come to our school and talk to us, and we invited the EPA president. So the EPA is the Environmental Protection Agency of the United States of America. So this woman had to come, you know, and sit down and listen to us and talk about environmental issues that were happening. So I got up and I started to talk about my city because I'm from Newark. You know, I'm not from Atlanta. Not to downplay Atlanta, but I'm gonna tell you that growing up, we had a lot of lead in our schools. Okay, so when you bring that up, that's very important because this lead crisis didn't just start now. This has been something that has been prevalent for years in our school systems, you know, years. Like, I mean years. Like, this is not something new. And she knew about that. And that was crazy. She knew about that. Like, she knew about the lead being in our schools, and they weren't doing anything about it because they don't support black and brown communities. They don't really care too much about giving us money when it comes to protecting our environment, you know, and what's happening in our city. So the fact that we have this crisis right now happening with this water is just wild to me because let's touch a little basis on that. So I'm working with this group right now. community organizers as well, and we're discussing, how can we, be the change that we want to see in our communities right now, because although nobody is really talking about it, we have to be the advocacy. We have to let people know. So when you're like parents, no, please do. I'm gonna leave y'all the link and everything, and we're gonna put y'all in cahoots with us. We literally just got off the phone. We've been discussing this. This started today. So I'm happy that I'm here, because this literally started today. Just me and a couple other great minds decided we was gonna sit down and build out an action plan and how we can take our community to the next level, because this is our city. Right. Flint and all of them, I do feel bad for them, and I know that they're, but we live here. We live here. And we gotta do our damn part. We not gonna sit around and allow y'all to, poison us and poison our damn kids. This is not happening, not here, not now, and not while I'm alive. So I'm gonna do my part, and I'm gonna definitely put y'all in there. But just to talk about that just a little bit more. So this crisis for Newark's watershed has been happening since 2017. They knew this since 2 years ago, and they have not discussed it. They have not talked about it. Now, 14 to 15,000 homes are affected, right? Yep. So this is considered the West Ward of Newark and the South Ward. They're affected mainly the most. They are affected.
They said not every part of Newark.
It's not. But listen, it's not. That's the truth, because it's different watersheds that come into the city of Newark. Like, for instance, Prudential, NJ Pack, like my job, things like that. They're not affected by this. Why? Because they're commercial buildings, and their water supply comes from a different plant, right? Yeah. But this one plant that's been affected, it's been affected because Newark pipes are so old. Now, you're talking about 350 years old. Some are still wooden that we still have, and it affected the whole entire plant. So now it's affecting your town, Bloomfield, is affecting different areas that also have their water coming out of this plant, because Newark watershed, our pipes were so bad that it's affecting now the whole plant. It contaminated the whole plant of water. Disgusting. And that's so bad because Newark has great water. And that's something that people don't talk about either. Right. We have great water, but it's our pipes that's the problem. So that's the thing. Flint got dirty water. Okay, their water is dirty. Their water is dirty, so they don't have no good pipes or no good water, but we do. We have good water. In order for us to protect that, it starts with us bringing advocacy to what's going on. My friends' parents didn't even know the fact that the water was contaminated. They still trying to cook, and they still trying to do something, and they don't speak English, and that's what I'm saying. We have to educate our community. It starts with us. We're going to do a lot of outreach. We're going to be out here canvassing, being on people's doorsteps, even if it's just handing out flyers with information that we collected, that we know, what's going on. We're going to do our part, and we're going to let people know, yo, this water is contaminated. It starts with us. Now, with this program that they're proposing, so they have this lead line proposal, right? And they're providing 90% of the cost. So they're going to pay for the state, North got the state to pay for replacing these lines, right? But that's still a problem. Why? Because like I said,
the residents pay for it.
They're making the residents pay 10% of it, but that's still a problem, because when you sold these people these properties, you didn't tell them that they lines was gonna be, they gonna potentially be poisoned. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Like you didn't tell these people that. You didn't educate them on that. And how about people who can't afford to pay this? Yes. So we need to come up with at least a policy on a federal level to just, how about we have a forgiveness program or something for these people, you know what I mean? The fact that they can't pay it, they can't pay their little portion, so we're gonna have to do our part to educate people.
They gave them up to a year,
a year, and they're not gonna give them the bill to 60 days after, but still, this is a Newark issue. Y'all gotta do something about it. Y'all got all these corporations in here eating off of us. Where they gonna spill out some money. They gonna spill out some money, and they're gonna help our community, because we have been helping y'all. We keep y'all doors open, so y'all gonna keep our doors open too. So like I said, we gonna push forward when it comes to this issue, because we are not Flint. So even though it may seem like it's not a big issue, because when you look at it, Newark's population is 275,000 people. So when you look at 14,000 homes or 15,000 homes, it may not seem alike, but a lot of those places are overcrowded. So when you got 4 people in three family homes and 4 people living in a building, stuff like that, you do the numbers. You times that, that's half of the city. That's half of the city. Half of these residents are affected right now by this water. And let's not talk about the fact that you guys are giving us bottled water, but how long is that going to last?
They only giving out 2 cases.
Exactly. How long? and look, let's do the math too, because I'm all about that. If you literally give these people 2 cases a week, right? When you average that out, that's like $300,000 a year that you're spending on like each residency. That's mad money when you can go ahead and fix, you know, and fix what you have to do. So do your job, you know what I mean? And that's just what it's gonna be. We're not gonna let this slide. We definitely not letting the EPA slide. We not letting nobody slide. So you know, whoever involved in this, they're gonna hear us. They're gonna hear our voice. They're gonna know that we're gonna be out here active and we're gonna get it popping because this our city and we got to take it back. You know what I mean? We can't let them get away with this. There's been a scandal. This scandal has been going on. Like I said, they knew since 2017. Even Cory Booker was a part of this. So, you know, he knew what was up too. He knew what was up too. So it shouldn't have got this far. You know, y'all should have handled it when y'all knew y'all failed the first time on that federal level when they gave y'all that test and y'all failed. Y'all should have knew right then and there that y'all had work to do on the city. So now, you know, what's going on is that, you know, we got this crisis right now that's happening. They don't want to call it a crisis, but it's a fucking crisis. Okay? Because when families are affected and fucking kids are affected, lead is a problem. It's a major problem. It affects your psyche. Okay? So no, we will not stand for that, you know, and like I said, we're going to do our part, and I'm definitely add you ladies to the group, and, you know, we're going to get it popping. I'm a city employee, Exactly, so we're going to do what we have to do, and, you know, we're going to be knocking on everybody's door, letting them know what's going on, and, you know, just doing our part every day, just being better citizens, and doing what we have to do for our community, because it starts with us. You know, we are the face for the youth. They need to see us being active. We ain't had no role models. You know what I mean? So we are the role models, and we need these kids to see that we doing what we supposed to do.
We gotta break these generational curses.
We gotta break these generational curses. They have to be broken. Like, it's been tied into our families for too long. You know, and it starts with us. So if we could do our part, you know what I mean, and do what we have to do for our community, we gonna do it. We gonna definitely do it.
I want to ask you something because you are so strong-minded, and I just learned so much from you right now. Wow. You learn something new every day. How do you keep your mental health in order?
Ooh.
Like, what do you do on a daily basis? Like, you do so much. I don't even think you have time for yourself.
I do. Actually, I do.
You gotta make time.
So the good thing about me is that I never bring business home, right? So whatever I'm doing when it comes to business stays business. So when I'm in my office and I'm working with my clients and things like that, I keep all that there. You know, I never bring the stress of whatever I'm going through home. That's my sanity. My space, my home. I always tell people for a long time, especially when I got here, I felt like I was homeless because I didn't have an address. I didn't have nowhere to stay. I was staying with my sister and my girl. You know what I mean? So it was completely different for me. So now that I'm in my own space, that's my sanity. You know, that's my peace of mind. So I'm not bringing no negativity into my house. I'm not bringing the weight of the world from the day into my house. I go home, I relax, I kick my feet up, drink some wine. You know what I mean? Be grateful, say my affirmations. You know what I mean? I pray to God. God keeps me going. Okay, so that's what helps my mental health. I pray a lot. You know, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the grace of God. So, you know, like I say all the time, me practicing more just self-care as well. Like, I like to look nice. I like to look cute. Like, that helps my mental health. I like to dress up. You know what I mean? I like to go out with my friends, you know, and even having conversations like this is good for my mental health because I like to talk. So if I could educate more people every day, that's helping my mental health every day. So that's one way that I definitely just, you know, like keep my mental health in check and just, you know, I check in with myself too. Sometimes I still get sad about my mom. Sometimes, you know, I still get sad about just life in general, but because I'm a grief recovery specialist, you know, I know how to tackle that and I know how to definitely deal with my grief or any type of loss whenever it like jumps into my life or whenever I don't know, you know, where to go. And I got great friends and I got a great support system. Grateful for my fiance. She's always here for my mental health. So, you know, I definitely just practice that every day. Just, you know, being better, like just a better person, like every day when I'm home.
Do you meditate as well?
I don't meditate, actually. Believe it or not, I don't meditate. I'm going to start, though. And I found the app, actually. I found the app, like a Black people app, too. And I'm going to use that. Like, I found it on somebody's social media. It was like, you know, an app for meditation just for Black people, and I'm going to use that.
Yeah, I'm all about meditation. I advocate for that.
I got to get in that. So I don't meditate. I feel so embarrassed, but I'm definitely try.
Either, but a little cheap way is, too. I know what I do. Like, at night, I literally just turn my speaker on. Apple got like a little like browser or whatever where you can like sleep music, meditation music, Buddha music or whatever. Like when I'm just like had a long day, I'll just throw it on, or I throw like the water sounds on and just let it take my.
Y'all put me on talking about something educating y'all educated me. I ain't know that.
And then the thing about meditation, people think is they're sitting there crisscross applesauce saying mantras. Like no, like there's different types of meditation. Like for me, I like to dance, so there's a dance and meditation. So like I just put on whatever music and I just literally let my body go, like just let it go, and like you just feel really good. Sometimes I do sit there and I do say my mantras and I listen to my chakra meditation music and do all of that. But it's different ways of doing it. But I found that's really helped my mental health a lot.
Okay, good. So like that's something I'm throwing in there.
Yeah. 2 things I do, it helps me: cleaning. I like cleaning. Like when I'm like feeling something, I'll clean, put some music on, I'll clean. I feel like real great after. I'm like, I can start like the
my
day.
mother.
Yeah. I feel like cleaning actually plays a big part too.
I like cleaning too.
Or I'll talk to like my significant other. I feel like that really helps me. So I was gonna say, like, are you like newly engaged?
No. So
okay.
And
where's the wedding?
Nice.
I want to be a flower girl.
No, I am not newly engaged. Coming up in March will be our 2-year anniversary of being engaged. But we decided that we were going to get married on my mom's birthday, 2020. So my mom's birthday is January 9th. So we are expecting that to be the day we tie the knot.
Congratulations.
Congrats. That's so bomb.
Yeah, and I'm actually having a destination wedding, so I will not be in the country.
Where you going?
That's cool.
I'm trying to go to Maldives.
Oh.
Yeah. So
that's it.
Oh, that's an island,
It's
baby. Yeah. So that's a little far, but it's okay though. Destination weddings are actually much better. I tell people that too because it's cheaper for your pockets. Not to say like you can't ball all out, but I don't want a lot of people at my wedding. Why?
Right.
Because a lot of people weren't here for this come up, so I don't want a lot of people around me. And I feel like I'm like a person that like everybody knows on social media, but they don't know me. You know, so it's so many people that like, oh, I'm coming to your wedding. It's like, girl, I don't know you. Like, what you mean you come to? You only know me on social media. Right. You know, and it's like I don't even mess with a lot of my family like that too. My friends are my family. I tell people that too. I've grown a lot of relationships with my friends, and I treat them like my family because, you know, family ties that don't really mean nothing. You have people snake you every day, and you know your own family will snake you. Your own family will snake you. So you know, I definitely, you know, I prize my friendships and I prize them. I treat them like my sisters and things like that. So because I don't have a lot, those will be the people standing, like, you know, they gonna be there with me on my day, and that's something that I'm gonna, you know, cherish for the rest of my life. So when it comes to friends,
and then going back to your engagement, I do know you are a lesbian, so you're part of the LGBT community.
I am.
So how do you feel, because this is a conversation we had earlier, a couple episodes, how do you feel about LGBT like being shown in the media and like kids cartoons and stuff like that? Because a lot of people say pushing the agenda, but I don't know if that's really politically correct. So like, how do you feel about that?
So, you know, that's a very sensitive topic for me. And not because I personally feel like it can't be talked about, but it affects me. Right. You know, so outside of that, I want to throw in something too. I seen this post and it said, who gets affected more? LGBTQ, black women, or women or black people, right? And I said, how can I answer that when I'm all three? You know, so this is deep for me because I'm a part of a marginalized group in so many ways. You know, I'm part of a minority on every level. So it's like, you know, black women, we are like the bottom of the bottom. So then to be a gay black woman is even more, like, you know, it's even deeper. So when it comes to, like, you know, just people saying like it shouldn't be pushed on kids, education is education. Right. And I think people are putting their personal values and how they view things versus educating people on what's up. I feel like people telling people not to have their kids learn about LGBTQ history is the same as white people advocating for not learning black history. We are a minority. And literally, if we are oppressed, everybody is oppressed. So if one group is oppressed, it doesn't make you better than the next. You know, so you have no right to say what can be taught in a school when it comes to educational wise. That's not forcing a sexual orientation on nobody. If you're teaching them about the history of a movement, that makes no sense to me. And I tell people that all the time, LGBTQ history hasn't even been around a long time. It's only been 50 years that this has been around. So if you have a problem with people learning how something got started and how people, you know, exercise who they were, then you are the problem. You know what I mean? That's what I definitely see it as, because it's not forcing a child to learn anything. It's forcing people to respect cultures and different, you know, orientations and groups and whoever. Like it's forcing you to respect people in general and be a human being. So if you have a problem with people practicing how to be human beings, you are the problem.
Yeah, because I remember learning about Stonewall in high school, and it caused an uproar amongst the parents. That's like, why are you teaching this? Why? I'm like, we're learning about a social movement, a social revolution amongst humans. Like,
ooh, girl,
they advocated for something. So I'm like, I don't understand. Like, it's advocacy.
It's advocacy, and I think that's the problem. You know why? Because we're so rooted in ignorance in our communities that people don't know what it is to educate themselves. They think that when you are showing a different perspective, you're going against them instead of just giving them a different view on something. You know what I mean? It's not forcing a child to feel like, oh yeah, you know, I'm gay, or no, I'm not forcing you to like this. I'm not telling you that this is for you to like. I'm just teaching you about their history because they matter too. They are a minority, just like a black person is a minority, just like women are minorities. So accept them. You know what I mean? And it's that simple. So yeah, I it's so sensitive to me. Like that topic is very sensitive to me because it's like you're gonna have people that's ignorant to it that you can't even talk about. It's some conversations I just be like, yep, girl, you won. Okay, you know, because there's just some things you can't get in people's head. If they don't want to know better, they're not gonna want to know better. So you know, that topic is very sensitive to me. Very, very sensitive to me.
I formed a new opinion about that like recently when I was like reading about it, and I feel like, you know, like at least growing up, a lot of people were scared to come forth with that. And I feel like with learning it in the school, you'll be more inspired as a kid who, like, in your heart, you know who you are and what you represent. And it's like, wow, all these people, they weren't scared to go out and be who they truly are. I feel like it'll be a confidence booster for kids who just want to be out there. You know what I mean? It'll be easier to come forward.
Decreasing suicidal rates, decreasing depression, decreasing anxiety, all that stuff. It affects all that.
I feel like it'd be a really good thing to learn about.
I think so too.
And what advice would you have for somebody that's, you know, afraid to be who they are? You know, afraid to, even if like their family accepts it or not, whatever the case may be, but like what advice would you have for that person that like show who you are? Because some people be, like you said, afraid. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it. So what would be your best advice on like,
for every person that for any person that feels like nobody understands them, is always 10 people out here to counter you. So if you ever feel like somebody doesn't understand you, believe me, it's 10 people that do. So if you just feel like you can't talk about it, you know what I mean? It's hotlines, it's anonymous, like, you know what I mean? It's ways in which you can definitely put yourself out there without, you know, having to feel like you are not necessarily even coming out, but you're just being comfortable with expressing what's on your heart. You're being comfortable to feel, you know, and that's something that a lot of people are afraid to do. You don't have to be gay to be uncomfortable to feel. We don't want to feel a lot of emotions that go through our bodies, and we don't know how to express ourselves when it comes to a lot of things. So just being able to just feel, you know, feel for yourself, be more kind to yourself, relax, you know what I mean? Relax, like literally relax, like learn to be more kind with yourself, and then everything else will trickle from there. When you're kind with yourself, you're kind with everything you, in everything you do. You know what I mean? So I think that any advice that I would give to a person is just like, you know, take your time, just feel, you know what I mean? And definitely just become one with yourself, because if you're not happy with yourself, you're not going to be happy with anybody or anything. So it starts with you, and once you care for you, you ain't gonna give a damn if your fucking mother care, your friends care, nobody care, because you love yourself and it's not about them. So once you put yourself first and you realize this is my life and this is how I have to live, you're not gonna give a damn if your mom don't accept you. You're not gonna give a damn if your father don't accept you, or if your friends don't care. You're not, because nowadays we know it's so many LGBTQ people out here now, okay? Nobody's afraid to be who they are really anymore, besides the fact that people are just disappointing their parents, and that may hurt, you know what I mean, or disappointing, you know, family members and stuff like that, so that may hurt. You know, a lot of people income and stuff like that stems from, you know, their family and things like that, so it's just that, you know, that kind of cuts people off. But it's resources out here for you, you know what I mean? It's things that you can do to just be more comfortable with who you are. So just once you accept yourself, you know what I mean, everything else will just fall into place. When you're more calm with yourself and you're more kind to yourself, everything else will fall into place. So I just want them to be themselves, like be who you are, and everything will fall into place. You don't have to prove yourself to nobody, and no matter how long it takes, you on your lifeline, not nobody else's. It don't matter how long it takes for you to come out or for you to be comfortable. Long as you're practicing just one thing every day towards that goal, you're gonna get it. You know what I mean? So just keep, being kind and just, relax. Like, talk little nice things to yourself. And like I said, they got hotlines and everything. You can call people and, vent and do whatever you got to do and just be who you are. And social media accepts you. Okay, so take advantage of that. So just because somebody don't accept you, get on social media, baby, and be who you are. 'Cause they don't accept you. Okay.
Period.
So do you have any advice for the counter? Like if parents are dealing with, their child just coming out and they're not really sure, like, how do I feel about this? Like they're a little uneasy about it. What advice do you have for them in terms of being able to still have that relationship with their child?
I think that they have to get out of the idea that this lifestyle is not about you. You lived your life already. You know what I mean? So when you decided to have a child, you knew that whatever comes with them comes with them. So it doesn't matter what they are. If they want to be a transvestite, it doesn't matter what they want to do. You lived your life already. You cannot put your ideals and your morals and your values on another human being. Once parents start to see their kids as humans and not as property, we will move forward in life. I'm not your property. You cannot talk to me any type of way. Even when it comes to being authoritative, we grew up like that. And we black people know for sure how, this has been a big issue for us. So, when we start there, that's when I think it'll move forward. So for parents, I just want them to get, just understand the fact that your child is a human being first. They're individual and they need to be talked to with love and kindness, just like you would have wanted somebody to talk to you if something would have happened to you. You know what I mean? And even think about it too. We have a lot of parents that were single parents. We have a lot of parents that, had children when they were younger. So if you got the scrutiny, why would you want to do that to your child? You know what I mean? So just change your perspective on things. Change the way you view things, because we living in a whole nother world right now. And we see it every day. People are coming up no matter what their orientation is. We see gay people being millionaires, flourishing and all that. So don't ever feel like, your child can't be who they want to be, because their sexual orientation does not stop them. You know what I mean? Or what they identify as does not stop them. So like I said, when they learn to see their kids as human beings and not as property, we will move forward in life. Like we will be able to have those conversations with our kids and be comfortable with our kids coming to us and telling us, that they're a part of the LGBTQ community, because they matter, and the first thing you want to do is go to your parents. So when you lose that sense of trust, you lose trust in a lot of
everybody.
Things. It trickles into all your relationships. And that's a part of my grief work too. We talk about that. Like, just because you may not feel like you lost a parent, or you may not, have lost something, you still may have lost a sense of trust in something. Regardless if that's your parent, if that's God, whatever it is, you lost a sense of trust. So now you can't operate effectively in life in general. So, it plays a part in our mental health and everything. So when our parents learn to accept us for who we are as human beings, and we start to raise kids as human beings, and like I said, not like our property. And a lot of times I find like people have children too because they sense for that sense of loving. You know what I mean? That they never got. So they look for their kid to give it all to them, and that's so selfish. You know what I mean? Because you strip them of the ability to be an individual. Now you feel like everything has to go your way and how you see it. And now right there you have just built a follower and not a leader. Right there. So I
think that happens a lot more in African American households than it does in like white or like Spanish households, and I think a lot of it has to do with like, I guess, the trickle down effect from like racism and everything. How like Black people, we were property, so it has become African Americans' innate ability to raise, not even raise, but like, all right, you're my child, you're my property. That's it. That's as far as it's going.
This is how it's going. This is what you're gonna do. This is what you're gonna wear. This is how your hair gonna look. You know what I mean? Like,
you can't do this.
Right, you can't do that. And this too, I feel like a lot of times, even with the LGBTQ community, I feel like a lot of kids will probably been came out if they were able to express themselves when they were kids. I always tell people, like, I had to do like hella research and hella papers in my psych class. We had to a lot of times compare if we felt like, being gay was biological or social. You know what I mean? So we had to literally have debates and arguments about if we felt like this was, people were born this way, or they just automatically became a product of their environment. They decided, because this is what I see, every day happening, this is what I'm gonna be, you know, and literally that's not the case. Kids are born gay.
I feel that
they are born gay.
I believe so.
They are born gay. They are born gay. A woman can only produce so many chromosomes for women and for men. You know, once they reach their amount of chromosomes for women, now it's automatically producing, like, if they keep having boys, that boy's gonna be a little feminine. You know, it's gonna happen. Like, it's scientific articles and everything out here that will justify this. People are born gay. And I always tell people used to ask me, like, you sure you don't like men? Or you sure? I said, why would I put myself in a predicament to be discriminated against every day?
Right.
Why would I just jump into a group
Right.
where I know I can be killed, I can be shot, you know,
Right.
I can be discriminated against, people won't give me a job, they won't sell me a house? Why would I just put myself in that category to be purposely, you know what I mean, discriminated against, or, you know, just people violently putting violence on me every day? Why would I do that? So you should know right then and there that why would somebody jump into, just like we can't just say we want to be black, we can't change our skin color, we can't just become white, you know what I mean? Why would we just want to be discriminated against? Nobody wants that. So you think people just openly just jump into a fucking, you know, orientation and say, hey, I'm
because
gonna be
it's
gay.
a trend
No,
or something like that.
no. People are born this way. That's who they are. So if these kids are able to practice who they are from a young age and not have their parents tell them what to wear, how to do this, how to do that, you will have a lot of openly more people and who they are. You know what I mean? You're forcing these little girls to wear dresses and all this shit, and then you get mad at them when they dress up and they want to put on boy clothes. What you mad for? This is what they always wanted to do. They showed you signs since they was little that they hated that shit, and you didn't pay attention to it because you didn't pay attention to your child. All you wanted to do is view them as property, you know, and be authoritative and tell them what to do and rule them and make them into something that they never was.
Yes.
And that's the problem. And now that's why we dealing with so much shit we have to unlearn about what we was taught. Now we have to unteach ourselves all the fuck shit. You know what I mean? That's been generation after generation after generation of things that do not work.
Do not make sense.
You know, and it don't work for us. It don't work for our community. So, like I said, that's one of the biggest problems that I definitely feel like, you know, when it comes to that part.
This is a good show. This is a good show right here.
I knew it was going to be. Once I saw, I was like, oh, she a Greek counselor.
She threw this.
I'm like, oh, it's going to be
call her
lit.
Wonder Woman.
Right.
Call her Wonder Woman.
Seriously.
And even like that you said, Birah, the best thing you can, not saying that you can't, that you're not good at anything else, but your main strength is that you can talk.
Right.
Yes.
You can talk.
Yep. And I would talk for days.
You like, and it's so funny how like talking and personality is everything.
It goes a long way.
I really noticed. I passed like 2 classes just because who I am.
Right.
I passed a couple classes
get you on everything.
just because who I am.
Yep.
Just because I can talk. Just because of my energy. The energy that I bring to class. Like biology looks is. I ain't too good at this.
Right.
But you feel me? When I come to class, my energy is there. I'm always happy. I'm always talking. I'm going to bring the energy to the class. They be waiting for me to come to class.
Right.
I don't even want to be here.
Right. No, seriously. No, I
So
agree.
it's definitely, like, people that can talk, they definitely need to use it to their advantage.
Oh, yes.
Also, too, we got 2 things before we close it out.
Okay.
One, we got a little segment called Dirty Laundry.
Okay.
Now, everybody has dirty laundry.
Okay.
With anything that you was gonna like take to the grave or whatever the case may be, it could be personal wise, life wise. You seen a situation or something.
We don't do indictments.
No indictments.
We gotta keep that clear.
No, we don't do no indictments. But yeah, we got some dirty laundry this year. Dirty laundry.
What
Air
dirty
it out,
laundry
air it
do
out.
I have? Oh my God. What dirty laundry do I have? That's crazy because I'm not a saint. I'm not a saint, but I wonder what dirty laundry do I have?
Don't get yourself in trouble.
Do it have to be like, can it be like my emotions towards people? Like, can that be dirty laundry? Like something that I feel like I probably wouldn't have talked about? I feel like, okay, I have something, but I feel like this was something that I probably wouldn't have talked about if I didn't go into my grief work, right?
Okay.
So when it came to my mom, our relationship wasn't always perfect. So a lot of times I feel like when people die, we automatically glorify them. we automatically think about all the best things about them because we are taught not to talk ill of the dead. But I didn't have a great relationship with my mom until I went to college. I actually had to teach my mom how to love me. I had to teach her how to operate and treat me as a human being because for a long time I told people my parents were walking ATMs. They only supplied money. They never was there emotionally. They never was there for me.
And when we talk about
that's really my dirty laundry because that's something that, you know, people think about how far I've come. They be like, you know, your mom is your most inspiration. I say yes, but it took time to get here. It took time for this relationship to be where it is because it wasn't that. I resented my mom for years. I felt like, you know, she didn't give me the emotional support that I needed. And when I got to college and going to an all-girls institution and you seeing everybody's moms involved and loving on them, that hit home for me because I was like, damn, my mom I never even remember a time when my mom told me she loved me. You know what I mean? So it was deep, like it was like deep-rooted pain. And I never talked about that for a long time because it was just something that I wasn't comfortable with sharing, I guess because I didn't want too many people to know that. Like I said, you're taught not to talk ill of the dead. But that was something that has always been on my heart and my spirit because every relationship is not perfect. And that's why I tell people, just because you may have lost your mom, just like may have lost my mom, our situations are unique and individualized. You know what I mean? And my relationship has nothing to do with your relationship. So we will never operate the same. And how we do things in life will never operate. So that's always been dirty laundry for me because, you know, my mom's glorified in my family too. She's like the saint. You know, she does everything. And that was my biggest reason why I felt like I resented my mom was because she did so much for everybody else and not her own kids. She didn't pay attention to us. She didn't put a lot of love into us, but she wanted to be that go-to person for all her sisters and brothers' kids and all of them and making sure they're okay and they don't go to diapers when you need to be taking care of home first. You know what I mean? It starts here. It doesn't start there. Not to say you don't love your family, but we're your family too. You know what I mean? And we matter too. So like I said, when I got to college, I really had to teach my mom how to love me and how to show love because it's generational curses. She didn't grow up like that either. You know what I mean? So she's just a product of her mom, you know what I mean? And how they operated every day. And then my mom's mom died young. So she's the oldest. So she was the main person, the main source of income for everybody, the person that took on all the weight of everybody and, you know, just doing everything. So she also lived a hard life. And that's when forgiveness comes into play. You know what I mean? Because I had to forgive my mom. I knew that just because I had to teach her something that starts with me too, I'm also a part of the problem. If you want to fix your relationship with anybody, it goes both ways. You know, and it goes both ways. So if I want to fix a relationship with my mom, I have to do my part too, because at least I can say I tried. So if it doesn't work out the way I wanted it to work out, I know that I still did my part, and I know I still brung this to you. I'm able to exercise my feelings, and I'm able to talk about what hurts me and what I feel. So that was something that I feel like is definitely dirty laundry for me because people look at me and they be like, oh yeah, you know, your mom would be so proud of you. I'm like, yeah, she definitely is. But you know, our relationship wasn't always great. It was very rocky. You know what I mean? We didn't even really have a mother-daughter relationship. I didn't even spend most of the majority of my time living with her. I lived with Dan and my sister and my father majority of my life. So, you know, it's just a lot, you know, and I always tell people, like, I'm grateful for the way she exited this earth because we were on good terms. So that's all that matters. But that's my dirty laundry because I don't talk about that, you know, and I don't let people know that part of my story and that part that definitely affected me growing up and, you know, how I operated in life and just in general and things that I did.
And to kind of like piggyback off like what you were saying in like a similar sense, you know, growing up, because my mother passed young. She passed when I was 6 years old and everything. So from that time forward, it's always been me and my father. It's me and my father. But my dad wasn't really given the key on how to raise a daughter. You know, most males, the mother take care of the daughter. You feel me? He go get the bread. You feel me? He make sure the family good. He feed the family. But as far as like catering to a female, her needs, letting you just know, like, don't do this, don't do that, watch out for this. My dad wasn't there for that. He was always at work. I raised my damn self. I had to feed my damn self. I had money to eat. I always had the money to, feel me, go to school in the freshest wear. Feel me, newest jewelry. My dad, everything. Every month, my dad be like, we gonna go to Foot Locker, pick out whatever you want. You know, I had money for everything. But what about my mental health? Who can I talk to? You know, my dad come home, he's tired as hell. He don't want to sit here like all you want. If I even try to talk to you, you're going to yell at me. You just not even going to listen. You know?
Speak on it.
So growing up and everything, I had to really find out who I am, who I was. You know? Because I done, you feel me, made a lot of mistakes, but I learned from all
We all
mistakes.
did. Yep. We all did.
So doing something that I love gives me a different type of strength. Right. And I don't love my dad to death. You feel me? He's a very good man, like a very good man. It's just at the simple fact that he didn't
emotionally
really,
you needed him. You know,
emotionally I needed you, and he wasn't there, but he didn't know how to share that.
Yeah. And that's crazy because you know, while growing up in a black community, a lot of people will want the opposite. I wanted love. I didn't want the money.
Right. I wanted love. I didn't want the money.
And you know it's so funny because a lot of people grow up with not having shit, and they would have rather took their parents giving them money and not having the love versus me sitting here like, damn, I wish my parents loved me, or I wish my parents told me they loved me. Like literally, like people would rather have, you know, that lifestyle where you in the latest and you in this and you in that, but damn, y'all don't even know I don't even get no love at home. Like you know what I mean? I don't even know that. Nobody tell me they love me. Like damn, I would choose love over
what about
money,
not having either? You feel
like,
me?
It's
so
there's
damn from taking what you said and her said, you know what I mean, that's less hard too, but like take it from what you guys both said as far as like, matter of fact, taking from what she said and applying it to your situation as far as she had to come to terms with herself and make it a two-way street and working that out with her mom, you know, at the time, you know, and you working it out with your dad possibly in the future, because that triggered me, because you know we're all not in the greatest situation, but you know it comes a time where it's like
you have to be the bigger person,
realize what the parent went through too, what was not their fault, what they were trained and learned, and you know what's embedded in them, and try to talk to them like, you know, this is what's going on now. Let's compromise. Let's figure this out. You know what I mean?
And that's important.
And not blame them.
No,
because I had a problem with
important.
blaming. Like, why don't you get this and why don't you get that?
As a child,
no,
your
that's
parents
important.
supposed to, you know,
that's important.
like,
that's what I had to do. I had to learn my mom. I had to learn my mom. You know, I feel like what also stemmed is the fact that I have two younger siblings, and when it comes to my little brother, he was the only youngest boy. You know, so he was always kind of heavily a product of his environment. Like I said, he liked to be in the streets. He liked to do what the thugs do. You know, my little brother was the youngest ones hanging out with 20-year-olds, and he in fucking 6th grade. Like he was literally out here. Like people knew him. Like grown men used to try to talk to me, and they know my little brother. Like it was wild to me. You know what I mean? And my mother knew that she had to tend to him just a little bit more, because I always tell people, that's why I can piggyback off of what you said. My mom is a representation of every last one of her kids. So she know how to treat every last one of us. So just because we're looking at it from our point of view, like, oh, my mom don't love me this much, she always do this for them, she just knows each and every last one of her kids because they're all a part of her. Right. You know what I mean? So she knows who needs a little bit more attention and who don't. She knew I was strong. She knew from me and my older sister, we're the strongest. Like, we are the rocks of the rocks. Like, literally, I was my mother go-to for handling the bills, paying this, doing that. It was me, because I was the most responsible, you know, and she knew that regardless of what was going on in life, we was going to get it done. But my little brother wasn't. He wasn't going to do it the right way. So if he needed $100, he going to rob and steal. You know what I mean? If I need $100, I'm going to work for it. I'm going to figure out how I can, you know, get this $100. But him, no. He going to go the rough route. So if it comes to, if we both asking for $100, you know who she giving it to, because she don't want nothing to happen to him. So for a long time, it was just little things like that used to trigger me, and I had to realize, like, damn, you know, my mom loves us all the same. She just know how to tend to each and every last one of her kids. You know what I mean? Yes, and how they grew up plays a major part. Like I said, I knew that my mom was the rock. I knew that she was the one that took care of all the family, you know, and did everything. So I knew that she was battling with a lot as well. But like I said, it definitely starts with, you know, you communicating that and you sharing that, because I had to let my mom know, sis, like, you know, like, you ain't doing your job. Like, you know, so I had to definitely put her on when it came to that.
That's something that I really had to learn, because I'm the only girl and I'm the middle child. So I got that middle child syndrome.
Yeah, I'm the middle child too.
And I'm the only girl, so it was like me and my mother, we butt heads all the time. All the time. And it's like, all right, she'll treat my oldest brother this way because, you know, that's her firstborn. That's her baby. It was just them for 5 years. Then I came along and my brother treated me like crap, because it's like, who is this new baby? Where is she coming from? And then when my little brother came around, me and him are 8 years apart, I treated him the same way that my older brother treated me, because it's like, all right, who are you? Where are you coming from? And then his dad, me and his dad didn't have the best relationship either. So it's like, I take a lot of that anger out on him. And I feel like a lot of the anger that my mother has from like past relationships that didn't work out and stuff like that, she oftentimes takes it out on me. And it's like, my dad, he was incarcerated when I was born. So we would go visit him and stuff like that. And then after every visit, I just noticed like her attitude would change. She would just be so angry sometimes, or she'd be so emotional, and I never could figure out why. And then I was like, is it me? Like, what is the problem? Like, even to this day, we still butt heads, but it's different. Like, she tells me when I can be grown and when I can't. Like, I gotta pay rent. I gotta pay this, that, and the third. But my boyfriend of 5 years can't come upstairs. What you mean?
Right. But you want me to pay rent. Though.
Right. Like, I'm like, you want me to pay for the room?
Right.
Now,
you want me to be grown, but I'm not grown.
Make it make
Basically.
sense.
Balance.
Make it make sense. Like,
Basically.
It's a work in progress. Like, it was bad. Like in my teenage years, like when I was 16. 17, high school was real bad. Yeah. But it got better when I got to college because we had that time apart. And then like it was even weird because everybody's mom, like their mom would call them every day. I had to call my mother. Like you know you got a daughter. Like
I'm alive.
I'm at school.
I got that message. I'm alive. I got necessities. You know, are you helping me? Like, yep.
And I feel like too, like going off what we were saying. I noticed like. Because my dad in his 50s and everything, and at this point, he's not going to change. Right. So then I had to say to myself, like, all right, I know that you'll still never be emotionally there, you know? So now, here I come trying to figure out the solution. Let me just be more, I'll just come and lay down, Dad. Let's watch a movie. I'll come in and do this. And I don't really see my dad often because by the time I wake up, he's gone. By the time I come in the house, he's asleep. Right. So, you know, like on like free time and everything, I just try to be like, hey, Dad, what's up? What's going on in life? You know, because you don't know anything that goes on in life. Not a single goddamn thing. And even when I started the podcast, he like, what's that? Because I got something to do with school, and I've been doing it for like 3 months now. Right. No. And you haven't even checked out the show. Right. You giving me the money to pay for this. So we're just gonna let it rock. Right. You know? So I had to, but I found somebody else. I literally, when I tell you, your own family will really snake you, I have somebody that's not even blood to me. I knew her for probably about a good 7 to 8 years going on now. She has 2 daughters and everything. Her daughter used to stay with me to go to school in Bloomfield and everything because she was too smart for fucking Newark schools. Sorry to say, but she was like too educated. So she lived with me, went to Bloomfield High School and everything. So like me and Rainaya became really close. And her mother treated me as if I was one of hers. Anytime that I have a problem, I go to her. Anytime that like I'm feeling down and out, I go to her. You know, and the funny part about it is I never called none of my dad's girlfriends mom. And if any of them would think that I'm gonna call her, I probably would spit on them. But that was God. I swear to God. But this lady has like done everything for me. Mentally, emotionally, feed me. I don't even get home cooked meals. My dad cook once a year and it's the same thing. I literally eat out my entire life. Like my dad, he buy food, whatever the case may be. So then it's just the warm feeling to have somebody that I needed a mother figure. Right. I needed somebody that's gonna like, you know, do this with your hair, do that. My dad had me out here looking crazy. When I was younger.
I feel like we can just do a better job us in the future with, you know, our kids.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I feel like that would be like the best way to kind of vent it out. Because I always say, you know, like, I'm not gonna blame how I grew up. Didn't grow up worse. Didn't grow up bad. People grow up worse than I did. You know what I mean? Right. But everything that I did need, I just want to make it a point to always give it to my kids. And just keep that going. I feel like that's the best gift that we can just take the trauma and
I tell my mother that all the time. Like, you know what? I'm not going to treat my kids the way
I'm not going through this. My kids ain't going through this.
She's like, oh, I said the same thing about my mother, and then I ended up doing it. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, because it was different then. Y'all didn't know about breaking generational curses. Y'all didn't know
this type of time we on. You know, we game changers. Right. Millennials right now, we have been breaking.
Yeah. And then they wonder why we so aggravated and so mad. Because we got to deal with all this.
We got to break everything that y'all fucked up.
We got to information coming in, and we're telling them everything that's different. Right. Like, no, this is how I grew up.
This how I grew up. Like, no, we got to be facts. You know what's crazy though? It's really a two-way street with that because it's really crazy because my grandmother, I feel like she be talking some bullshit. I'm like, Grandma, we in a new day and age. But some of the things that she do say does still apply.
It makes sense.
Right.
It makes sense. And I don't never get it when she tell me.
Right.
I get it later.
Right. When you're going through the lesson.
When you going through it, you know, I get it later. Like, all right, lady, you was right.
She was right.
You was right. It's a little different, but in some aspects,
they do
right.
matter. Yeah,
they be
do
right.
matter, yeah.
As far as friends, as far as this, treating people. Like, my grandmother be, like, breaking it down and everything like that. And I'll just be like, shut up. Like, all right, grandma, like, damn. Later down, I'm like, all right.
She was right.
She was right. But no, not even the fact of them being right, too. Even when it comes to us doing our part, we're just, picking their brains. Mm-hmm. We need stories to tell our kids about what our parents and stuff been through. And if you go every day without talking to them, and you just going days and days and living your life, you ain't gonna have no legacy. You know what I mean? No history, nothing to let your kids know what went on in their lives. They are an older generation than us. They've been through so much stuff. It's still parents out here and grandparents who was around, when segregation and all that stuff was happening. And if we don't pick their brains and we don't get that information, we don't know our history. So it is a two-way street with just breaking those curses and just, even if it's me putting myself in an uncomfortable situation, with just coming to you and be like, tell me how was your day? Or just, let me know what was this? Or, when you was this age, what happened? Like, just little stuff, because that matters. Like, that definitely matters. So even if it comes to, us not always getting, everything they say to us, because we gonna argue with them back and forth, but just learning about their history is important. You know what I mean? It's important to get close to them and just to just learn more about them. Like, that's gonna play a major part.
Especially when you want that old school love. I'm sorry, but these guys, they ain't it. They ain't it. Y'all's not it, fellas. Like, just trying to love a black man, and they make it hard.
I feel like they was doing the same thing before.
No,
they
said that post. They got this post that was like,
this can't be the same.
No, this can't be the same bills that, like, they're not paying the bills. They was paying back then. Like, for real. Like, I was cracking up.
Like, this can't be the same guy that Barbara called Shirley about.
I know.
It's kind of funny too, because one day I just called my grandmother because I forgot. I think I was in like a relationship or whatever, and I was just fed up. I'm like, Grandma, how the hell did you and Grandpa stay together for 50-something years?
Because they be putting up with bullshit. That's why.
You know what's crazy?
I'm not doing that.
No.
That's why.
The funny part is, my grandmother, she was like, it's kind of funny, your grandfather. She was like, he went to work. He made sure them bills was paid. He ain't bring nothing home. You feel me? And he did everything. He took care of his responsibility. If he was even doing something or whatever the case may be, he didn't bring nothing home. He made sure his home was good.
Right.
He made sure them kids was fed.
Right.
He made sure before my grandmother cursed his ass out, they ain't gonna give her this fucking money until shut her ass up. And shut her ass up.
Facts. That's the truth.
And then it's really crazy how I witnessed everything. My grandfather was the breadwinner.
Right.
My grandfather paid for all she did was nag. And then obviously made sure the home was good. But when I tell you my grandfather's an annoying ass lady, she will curse you the fuck. Yo, my grandma don't give no fucks. Like, she will curse you the fuck out.
But you know what's crazy about that with
He
people
still
taking
loved
care of home? We have more women that's willing to take care of themselves nowadays.
Period.
You know what I mean? We are like bosses. We are entrepreneurs. We want that bag. We want an education.
I'm not sitting in no house. We want
to do for us. Like, we want to do, what we didn't always have the opportunities to do.
Right.
And we're taking advantage of our opportunities.
I am so glad you said that, because like, my mother thinks my boyfriend's just supposed to pay for everything.
And no.
And I'm
He
like,
not a bank. I hate girls like
first
that.
Of
He not
all,
a bank.
First of all, we not even married. Like,
Talk
why you feel like he got? I have my own money.
Talk about
because
it.
the moment he does start paying for stuff, you're gonna have a problem with that too. Like, oh, you're not being independent, you're not being self-sufficient like I taught you to be. But yeah, you want? No. If I need something, I know he'll give it to me. But I'm gonna do everything I gotta do first before I even ask him. He's my last resort.
I gotta have everything for myself.
Yeah.
Like, cause like, even like, just in certain situations, like divorces happen, things don't work out. I need to have my bag.
I've never seen a successful marriage.
And dip.
I've never seen a successful marriage.
I'm not trying to be like, I'm waiting for the money, or
now you want to know what's funny? Let's throw some more dirty laundry, right?
Ooh.
So when I first came here, right, I wasn't working, so I was just trying to figure out my lifestyle and what I was comfortable with, right? So I dealt with my sister constantly throwing a lot of scrutiny at me. Like, she would just be like, you don't want to work. you don't want to go to school. Like, you know, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. And I feel like one of the biggest problems was people feel like, you know, just because you're not physically sacrificing shit, that you're not mentally doing the work. So, you know, if I'm up here preparing myself for a better lifestyle because I don't want to work at McDonald's and I don't want to do what the fuck everybody else do it, does not mean that I'm not doing the work, right? So because of that, I used to have little money. Like, you know, I used to get little money here and there. And I wasn't always responsible with money. I can be honest about that. I used to blow my money on stupid shit. So I remember a couple of times where, like, I would have to pay my phone bill. But I choose to spend my money with going having drinks with my friends, you know, going to turn up. So my sisters used to be like, yo, I'd come to them and be like, yo, can you pay my phone bill? They looking at me like, yo, go ask your girlfriend. And then I go ask my girlfriend, and she looking at me like, but Birah, you just had the money. Right. And this is stuff we don't talk. No, this is important stuff that we don't talk about. You know what I mean? Because your family will look at your significant other as a fucking bank when they looking at you as, you supposed to be my rock. You supposed to be my rock too. If something happened to me, how you gonna help me? You know what I mean? Like, how am I gonna be the only person doing everything for this relationship? And then if something happened to me, who gonna pick it up? We both gonna be struggling bones. You know what I mean? Like, and that's important. Like, we gotta hold our own. And ever since then, that was motivation for me. And I said, I ain't never gonna stop getting this money. Ever since then, it was like, oh, sis, life don't do the 3 motherfucking 60. Every day I touch new money. Every day. So it was just little motivation like that, like just wondering, just analyzing my life and figuring out why the hell I'm always broke. Where's my priorities? What the fuck am I doing?
That's literally my life.
No, that's
what the
me
fuck
right
am
now.
I doing with myself?
Because,
like, why?
I just feel like I'm never
like,
doing enough.
When I feel like the world is like this big, I don't go spend my last on a motherfucking Long Island in the day.
Exactly.
But the thing about me though, this is why I say that I'm also different.
Right.
Whatever I'm going through tomorrow, I won't let it affect me today.
Right. I
gotta
I will sit there and mope, feel like the world coming to an end, spend my last dollar on some liquor to take my ass to sleep, and I'll wake up like tomorrow. Yesterday ain't even happened. It's a new day. It's a new day to get some motivation. It's a new day to go figure out some business plans and get some money and do something. Do something. I won't let yesterday affect how I'm feeling today.
Period. And that's the truth. And that's a part of just taking lifestyles and just making it your motivation. You know what I mean? Because it just was little things like that just made me uncomfortable. Like, I didn't always feel like, damn, why I always gotta depend on my sisters? Or I gotta depend on my girl to help me. Like, what the fuck? Like, why can't I be the self-sufficient person? Yeah. Like, why can't I make sure I'm on? Why can't I make sure I'm good? So that was another reason why I jumped into fucking mixology too, because I was like, you know, my mother got a fucking bag. I'm getting a motherfucking bag. You know what I mean? If she was able to make all this damn money, why the fuck can't I? And what I do, don't turn that shit around, don't did unimaginable shit. Literally, no female mixologist for Hennessy. Literally, male-dominated industry. Men, all the time, especially for Team Jersey. That's all they had. The men do everything. The women are the face of our brand. They are the models. They are the beautiful ladies that walk around and pass out the drinks. And then you got me. What's good?
What's up?
Okay. How I'm about to come in and capitalize off this shit. How I'm about to come in and fuck this shit up. Why? Because I always find myself doing shit that people just don't do. That people are uncomfortable with doing, that people don't know how to do. I always break fucking barriers. Why? Because I know that it's more for me. If I'm uncomfortable in any situation, I know that means God has better for me. If I'm uncomfortable anywhere, I know that it means better is coming. You know, and
just be patient.
Just be patient. Definitely be patient and take your time too. People look at my success a lot of times and they automatically just feel like, damn, I gotta do what she's doing, or you know, I gotta do this and I gotta do that, and they don't know the sacrifices it took for me to get here. You know what I mean? They don't know my story. They don't know that some days I was working at the bar and I ain't make shit. You know, some days when I ain't come home with nothing in my pockets, hungry still. You know what I mean? Struggling. They didn't know that. They didn't see all the hard work that I had to put in to get here. They just see they see the outcome. You know what I mean? And everybody be on social media, they just see what's glorified. They see the highlights of your life. They don't see all the shit that you're not showing. They don't see when you're crying that night. And they don't see all the hard work you put in. Like when people think about mixing too, I tell people my job is not easy. It's not easy at all.
You have to know the different alcohols,
every fucking and throw into this too. We don't only just fucking make drinks. We clean. Okay? We wipe down shit. We do a lot of shit. And then me working where I work, I don't just work at my bar. I do a whole bunch of catering events. So big ass galas, you know, big ass award shows, things like that. It's so funny because I ain't announced this yet, right? So
you doing the VMAs?
My job, fuck the VMAs. My job. my job, right? No, fuck the VMAs. My job, right? So every year we host Black Girls Rock, right?
Okay.
Every year is that my job. And they always have sponsored like a sponsored brand of alcohol that sponsors them. So every year it's usually Hennessy that comes and sponsors Black Girls Rock. My boss came to me on Friday and said, I am the leading mixologist for Black Girls Rock, and we are not using an alcohol company. You are going to create the cocktails, and you are going to be on the face of fucking Black Girls Rock. So it is me. It is me. So when you have all these celebrities and you have all these people coming in, and you have all these motherfuckers that's about to come in and they about to drink these cocktails, that's me that created
That's
that.
big.
So that's me. That's
big.
That's my name on that. And that's so funny because I'm like, yo, I worked very hard to get, like, people who don't understand, this shit did not happen overnight. I put in a lot of work for this. I dealt with a lot of scrutiny. I dealt with a lot of self-work I had to do on myself to get here, too. This wasn't just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this job. Like, no, my mental space wasn't always together. Like I said, I had to do so much work overall on my character. Right. You know what I mean? How I operate with everything, with people, just in general, and how I was gonna execute a better lifestyle for myself overall. So this shit did not happen overnight. And I tell people, like, never measure someone else's success to your own. You are an individual, and your time will definitely come. I dealt with a lot of pain before I got here. My lifestyle, my childhood was not easy. So God is blessing me because I was faithful to my pursuits and I didn't let my lifestyle define me. Yep. I kept beating the odds and I kept coming up. You know what I mean? So that's something that, like, we have to take more pride in. Like, whatever you want in life, you will get. You know what I mean? If you stay faithful and don't compare your shit to nobody else, you could have a podcast just like the next person could have a podcast, but that ain't Jada and y'all podcast. You feel me? Y'all shit is y'all shit. That's it. You know what I mean? This is for y'all. This is your passion. And when it's your passion, the fruits are going to be overwhelming.
They have been coming, baby.
Okay?
The fruits have been. Whoa.
And that's how you got to stay faithful. You guys got to stay faithful.
There is rocks in the room.
Okay?
You feel me? You might think it's easy to sit here and talk, but like to keep it running, it's a whole process.
Y'all got stuff to pay, everything, and they don't see that part, right?
They only see us enjoying the fruits of our labor. They don't see the labor that went into us actually getting those fruits. They don't see it.
Yeah, I just want to say, thank you so much, Birah. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming and tell your story, because this is why we're here. Exactly. This is exactly why we're here. Yes. And I just want everybody, you feel me, before we close this up and everything, make sure, Birah, shout yourself out. Make sure y'all go get over my girl,
y'all
please.
Go follow me. I'm Birah1 on Instagram, okay? So look me up, follow me. You can follow my grief page at griefrecovery_Shabira. You can find me there for my grief work and what I do, but definitely follow me. Birah1, y'all, BIRAH1. That's where you can find me. That's where I'm most active. That's where I get it popping at, so definitely follow me, y'all. I'm a dope person and you want to know me, okay? Definitely want to know me.
Yes.
Well, baby, this is Illest Girls Next Door, and I'm J Benz.
I'm Rissy Riss.
And I'm Yanni.
And we is out, baby. Another good one. Woo. Let's jam.